Good morning, Olive. My name is Harland Cason. I'm an elder at a church plant in Pueblo, Colorado. I grew up at Olive through high school and college, and am thankful for the discipling and mission lessons that the leaders at Olive and so many of you invested in me. I've been away from Olive a long time. Olive is a partner to us here at our church plant. We're about 3 years old, both for the church plant itself as well as a leadership development program we put together, an apprenticeship called the Acts 13 experience. That's about helping young leaders in the church have a confirmation of call and then begin acting in service. It's not just for folks in our church. It's a 2-year process apprenticeship that is, we're trying to equip leaders regionally. So we're grateful for the partnership that we have with Olive. I was asked to share a morning devotion. I just want to share real quick out of a passage in John 10. It talks about Jesus being the shepherd. Psalm 23, many of you are familiar with. Psalm 23 has been very important to me in terms of my own life. When I'm having difficulty, I oftentimes find myself going to Psalm 23 and reading about the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And as you work your way through that text, it just brings me a lot of comfort to know of Jesus' personal care for me. In John 10, Jesus is bringing this distinguishing piece between him and the Pharisees. In the John 10 text, he talks about himself as a shepherd, and then the Pharisees, who he's speaking to in John 10, as thieves and robbers. He talks, and it says this in John 10:10. The thief only comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but I've come that you might have life and might have it to the full. I was working through this text myself and working through it with another pastor that was preaching through it, and we were just conversing about this text and trying to assess our own lives about areas that we were trusting in false shepherds, because that's what Jesus is kind of speaking sideways to the crowd in John 10 as he talks about these false shepherds who are Pharisees. You know, they present themselves as caring for the people, but in fact they're abusing them. They're living off of them. This a throwback to Ezekiel 34 that speaks of Old Testament priests and kings that were doing the same thing. And Jesus talks of himself as the shepherd who gives his life for the sheep. One of the things I think we do as we encounter this text is we sort through things we may be trusting in, or people we may be trusting in that are not Jesus. They're false shepherds. They don't have the power to bring life. Some questions I think about for myself is, what promises do I trust in that might bring me joy in life, but aren't really things of God? What are the daydreams that fill my mind? What are the things I think about during the day that bring life to me, or feel like they bring life to me? Those daydreams give me a sense of what promises I'm trusting in, what I'm looking to, what shepherds I might be saying I'm trusting my soul to. Another question you might think about is, what activities do you engage in to bring solace to the pains and hurts of your life? You know, those 3 questions help to go, am I trusting in Jesus, or am I trusting in some false philosophy of life? Am I trusting in who's in charge politically? Am I trusting in what my spouse can do to bring me happiness? Am I trusting in some activity, a sport, or maybe it's an addiction that you cling to that just gives you little bits of hope or peace in life? We've got to sort through those things, and John 10 begs us to sort through those things, because what it says is, if we're trusting in the wrong thing, we get the wrong result. These false shepherds we trust in, they don't bring life. They've actually come to steal, kill, and destroy. But Jesus is the one who gives his life so that we could have life and have it to the full in the NIV, or have it more abundantly. And I just want to encourage you today that you sort through and you trust and you cling to Jesus more than anything else. And if you have anything in your life where you go, I'm trusting a false promise of life, that you repent of that and trust only in Jesus, because he's the only one worthy of being your good shepherd.